And Daniel, would you go ahead and open in prayer, please?
Sure, Bob.
Thank you.
Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for bringing all of us together. We're just so grateful that we can gather, Lord, and just share with each other and share information. We thank you for the speakers, for their willing hearts in coming to be with us today and to share. We ask that you would be with them in all of their thoughts and their words, and just pray that we will be able to gain wisdom and insight from them. We just thank you and praise you. Thank you for being with us today, Lord. And we ask that you would bless this meeting and bless the rest of our days, our day and our time together. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you very much, Daniel. And we're going to open with wins. I don't see Rick and Barb on here, but I know they have some wins. And who else wants to share anything good from your business or personal life from the last month?
Let everybody else speak at once.
We had a great meeting last week, and now Rob has joined the company and he's enjoying the product, so that's our win.
All right. Wonderful. Wonderful. I know Kevin and Janet are lining up some groups for presentations. Do you want to tell them just briefly about TOPS or anything else, you guys, that's going on, potential things that are opening up?
Hi, so TOPS is Take Off Pounds Sensibly. It's a nationwide group. There's a chapter here in Philomath, about 12 women, and they were very receptive. They're super excited. Bob will be there, not this coming Monday, but the following Monday. So thank you, Bob, for being willing to come up. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. And thank you for doing the groundwork to arrange that. So you guys, there's all kinds of groups all over the nation. TOPS it's nationwide, isn't it, Janet? I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So I was privileged to do presentations for, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 TOPS chapters here in Eugene years ago. So Janet and Kevin found one. Is that it's in Corvallis or Philomath? It's
in Philomath.
Okay.
Yeah, our huge metropolis of Philomath. Yeah.
Right. So, but you guys, that's a group of 12 people that we can tell our story to. So we want to get in front of people every chance we get. So Kevin and Janet, thanks for setting that up. Appreciate it. Okay. Well,
I have to win, Bob.
Okay, please tell us.
Yes, last week, a lady I've known for years that was here briefly and then has been in Minnesota, just came up some questions about pregnancy. Her sister and her sister-in-law are both expecting, and she was too, but she hadn't told anyone yet. And she was asking questions, and I've never convinced her about NeoLife before. But I said, I'll do a 3-way call. Well, it was a 4-way call. And got together with these 3 ladies, one on her lunch hour, and one her husband was watching her other kids. And so they, we just, that's not long enough to really get a whole lot done, but we got a conversation started. They all got to be friends with me on Facebook, and I've been sending them stuff. Discovered one of the sisters is, she's got a master's degree in nutrition or something. And I'm going, oh, that's who I need to focus on. So I'm sending her things about the scientists and stuff. Anyway, so the first lady, I said, you want to get, to join? So the one lady had really, really bad hemorrhoids. And this is her first pregnancy. She's just newly married to this lady's brother. And going to work was miserable. So anyway, she was ready to order before we had the 3-way call. So the other lady said, yeah, she got signed up. And anyway, so it was, and they were really grateful. So that was definitely a win.
Fantastic. Thank you, Les. Thanks for sharing that. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay. Anybody else?
Well, I suppose I should share a little bit about, this is Jamie. I suppose I should share a little bit about Hume Lake. Going down for Louis' meeting. That was a wonderful event. And even though it wasn't at Hume Lake, it was really fantastic. Kendra was there, and we just got to hear some, John Miller probably did the best talk I've ever heard him do on either in person or on a video. He just was amazing. It was so good. And I just want to encourage people to try and get down there for Louis' events and also the convention coming up. And the other thing I wanted to say is I love our sport pack and the upbeat with that. That's a great combination. It really does energize you. It just makes you want to go out and go running or bicycling or do sit-ups or push-ups. It gives you that drive that somehow sort of evaporates as we start getting a little older, right? So if you're not doing that stuff yet, you really ought to give yourself a sweet little blessing and go for it.
Thank you, Jamie. You know, Jamie's a good one to talk about that because when he started on NeoLife, he could not lift his hand above his shoulder because of rotator cuff pain. And just to cut kindling with a hatchet, you know, small pieces, tiny pieces of wood, kindling to start fires hurt. Well, and when he got home, he was so tired from work, he just wanted to go to sleep instead of work on his beautiful, magnificent property in the country. But then he got on the products and now he gets home and he can go get a chainsaw. He can use his bulldozer. He can, before he couldn't, like I said, couldn't lift his hand above his shoulder. Now he can use a splitting maul for like up to 90 minutes chopping wood, and he can throw 20 and 30 pound rounds in the back of his truck. So high energy, strength. And Rob just told us, Rob, you've been on the product how long?
About a week.
A week. And you noticed already, you said.
My gym endurance and just physical activity, like just the energy factor, really. I can just do more during the day. It's pretty incredible.
Fantastic.
I only need to eat one meal a day now. It seems one big, larger meal later in the day is all I need.
Okay, so a shake and one meal will pretty well keep you going, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a huge metabolism, I guess, but yeah, that's been working for me.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, we're gonna move on to announcements. I hope you guys can get your pens ready because there's 4 pretty important announcements. So get ready here. The first one is that, we're exceedingly blessed and fortunate to have Charlotte with us today, a 2 diamond. That's phenomenal, extraordinary stature. And so you'll get tremendous content from Charlotte. But this one, I have some about another 2 diamond in the company that I want to encourage you guys to arrive in San Antonio, Texas for the summit get there July 19th, the day before, because on the 20th, from 12 noon to 8, we can get in on Bald Eagle pre-summit business seminar. So it's the day before convention starts from noon to 8, and it's only 10. Jamie, is it $10, I think?
Right now, yes.
Okay, $10, and you can get training, 8 hours of training from a 2 diamond team, which is absolutely extraordinary. So Kat, you got your tickets for convention, I see. And if you can get there on the 19th, come in on the 19th or real early on the 20th, because on the 20th from 12 to 8, you can get 8 hours of training from a 2 diamond for only $10. Okay, next one. At convention, I want to encourage all of you to get your 3 and 30 before convention, because there's going to be a by invitation only event at convention. It's going to be Saturday morning, and it's a SAB symposium. And I'm not positive on this, but I heard there may be as many as 4 scientific advisory board members speaking. I'm not positive on that, but I heard there's going to be 4 at convention that they'll have available for us. So if you get a 3 and 30 before convention, which means you sign up at least 1 promoter, which is what Rob is, I believe, 1 promoter and 2 members in 1 30 calendar month. That's called a 3 and 30. And if you have one of those, you can get into the SAB symposium, which would be a very special, phenomenal, extraordinary event Saturday morning at convention. So work to get that. If you need help doing that, I can help you do that. We might be able to get that possibly off 1 Zoom call. We could do 3 one-on-ones on Zoom presentation for you if you need help, or you can get 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 for a presentation. We'll do a presentation on Zoom, or John and Debbie can do it, or Jamie for everyone in Grants Pass. But if you get your 3 and 30, then you can come to that exclusive by invitation only event at convention with the SAB. So that's another one. Then I want you to mark your calendar, please, for May 20th from 8 to noon. There are going to be 4 hours of rock solid product training. We'll give you more details at our next BOC, which is the first Saturday of May. And Alan Blaine is going to be on our call on the first Saturday training BOC in May. We'll give you more events, but please mark your calendar, more information on that. Mark your calendar for May 20th, 8 to 12, 4 hours of top quality nutrition training from people all over the world, actually. Then today at 11, you can write this down. It's another Zoom ID than the one we're on. It's 963-644-1807. And the password is ATP. And there's going to be very solid, remarkable training at 11 today. Okay, well, from here, we're going to move to, we're ever so fortunate that John and Leanne Kane agreed to share their incredible story. I was real fortunate to meet these two at Louis' event that Jamie and Carol and I and one of Jamie's people went down for 2 weekends ago. And John and Leanne are from Fort Myers, Florida. They're part of the incredible Bald Eagle Louis Smith team. They are 2 outstanding, very pleasant individuals, and they have an incredible story to share. So you guys take notes, because this is an incredible story. And let's welcome now from Fort Myers, Florida, 2 remarkable people, John and Leanne Kane.
Hey, thanks, Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah, good to see you again in
You too.
person. Well, not in person, but I can see your face now.
Okay.
Yeah, I just had such a wonderful time at Louis' event. Got to meet some really great people. I encourage anybody to go next year. I've already signed up. Wife is, Leanne. It's my wife, Leanne. We've already signed up, so we're super excited to go back, and we're going to be at the summit in San Antonio this July. So we're all ready to go.
Okay.
So I'll tell you a little bit about my story. I'm 58 years old. We've been married for 33 years. And December of, well, I'll go back 6 years ago, I was diagnosed with sarcoidosis, which they say is an autoimmune disease of my skin. And you can see my face and neck here. And that's how my body reacts to whatever bacteria or toxins that got into my body. So my body is reacting to it, and that's how it fights that. Fast forward, I guess, 5 years. Basically December 2021, I was diagnosed with marginal zone lymphoma, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and went and did the bone biopsy and all that. And I looked to my wife and I said, the doctor at the Moffitt Cancer Center in Tampa, and I said, okay, what's next? Because I didn't know anything about nutrition. I didn't know that the nutrition can really kind of heal the body. And so that January of 2022, I came down with COVID, the Omicron variant, and I was out for about 6 weeks before I could actually go and do the conventional treatment. I had no idea. So anyway, so I went through the treatment, about 7 to 8 weeks of that. So the whole February, March of 2022, I went through that, and I was very weak, probably at the lowest physical and mental being that I've ever been in. I would come home from work and just crash on the couch. Couldn't think clearly, a lot of brain fog. And then once I came out of that, went back for another blood work. They found that my blood work came up. And so they decided to put me on a 2-month interval of the infusion. So I agreed to that. And after about 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, I really had a notion to go online, trying to find anything that I could do naturally without having to go through pumping drugs into my body. And one night I came across TikTok, and I saw Louis on a live Zoom call, and he just made immediate sense to me. And I signed up to his 30-minute consultation, which turned into 50 minutes. And at the end of my Zoom call, he blessed me. He prayed with me, and I'm like, wow, this man is amazing. He just he's praying for someone that he hasn't even known for an hour. And just a great experience there. And he got me on a 30-day detox program. 2 weeks after I started taking the Pro Vitality and the shakes, I went to the PGA Championship in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Southern Hills, and they don't call it hills for nothing, because I was going up and down those hills with ease. I had so much energy, like I do now, and I was just going up and down those hills with no problem. And I just knew that those products were working for me, and started eating whole foods, organic, doing the shakes, started juicing, and just maintained a whole protocol for myself. And in June of last year, I went in for a PET scan, and they found no enlarged lymph nodes in my system.
Wow.
So, yeah, pretty cool. Yeah. I get kind of emotional about that, and it just so I still went and did the treatment every 2 months, and I did 4 of those. And December 7th of last year was my last treatment that I agreed to, and I was supposed to do that for a whole year, and I felt absolutely miserable. And I felt like I had regressed a whole year by that one treatment, because I knew my body was in the right place, right? I knew that I had got my body to almost a pure, just the way it should be, the way God intended it to be. And I knew after that treatment, I felt just horrible. I felt like I did when I went through the whole treatment. And so I told the doctor, after 2 months later in February, I said, I'm done with your treatments, and I'm moving on. And so he agreed to that, actually, which, to my amazement, because they really just want to keep prescribing the drugs to you. So And so now I really have a win this week. This week was my 1-year anniversary of ending that long treatment, that 7 to 8 week treatment. And I went back to the Mayo, not the Mayo, but the Moffitt Cancer Center in Tampa and met, they did blood work and everything. And the nurse practitioner said, just listen to your body. And I'm like, what? I said, that's what I did. I said, I was just shocked that she would actually say that. And she goes, we'll see you next year. I went, well, fantastic. I said, I don't need to see the doctor? He goes, no, you don't need to see the doctor. We'll see you next year. And she looked through my records and she saw that I did a PET scan back in June. And I kind of like looked at her and it was almost like she's going, why are you here? So I'm like, I don't know. I was just told to be here a year from when I saw you last time. So that was my win. And I really thank the NeoLife family, my wife, my family, and just all the support system that NeoLife has. And so I don't know if you can see my eyes, but I used to have inflammation in my eyes every single day. And my eyes today are as white as they've ever been. So I know that I'm on the right path and I feel just amazing. So I'll leave it up to Bob. Back to you.
Okay, that was just thrilling. And yeah, your eyes look great.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, beautiful white, no inflammation. And
Yeah.
so you said you were going up and down the hills with
Yep.
ease. Had you been quite
With ease.
Had you been quite exhausted prior?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I had zero energy. In fact, my wife and I went in the year 2000, summer of 2024, the July 4th, or 21, I'm sorry. We went to Daytona Beach and I couldn't walk but a mile and I had to lay down. I was so out of breath. I was, and this was before my diagnosis, but I had zero energy. I couldn't even make it. I couldn't even make it down. I just walking down the beach. I was exhausted. And then, a year later, I'm walking up and down the hills of Southern Hills in Tulsa, and so it's just amazing. And just the other day, we're helping move my daughter, and she lives in a 3-story apartment building, and they don't have any elevators. And I can't tell you how many, probably 20 times I went up and down those stairs. And I didn't really break a sweat, and I have no muscle aches anywhere. I do take the upbeat, and I take the tea, and I don't know, half my counter is full of NeoLife's supplements, of course.
And would that have literally been impossible, John, before, right?
Oh,
Literally
impossible.
So your
Impossible.
life completely.
I would have had to walk to like the bleachers and just sat there all day. But I felt like if I went up a couple golf holes, I could, see how I felt. I said, okay, we're going to go follow some golfers. So that's what we did.
Wow.
Yeah. And, on a sad note, during that tournament, I found out my dad had passed away. And I know that he would have liked for me to have stayed there because he showed me the game of golf. And, he was with me as well.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
What an amazing story. How did that feel, on a little side note, for Louis to pray for you? You had just met him on TikTok, total stranger.
Yeah, so like I said at the HIM event, which was in kind of Fresno, Frayant, whatever Fayant. There's always someone in your life that will come into your life, other than your spouse and God, that I believe that will change your life. And Louis was that man. I think God had a hand in me to look at TikTok that one night, just scrolling through, and then because I had seen Louis a couple of times, and I didn't really pay much attention to it. I actually have a whole book here. And it says John's TikTok Health Tips 2022, and I have pages of notes in here that I've been researching and trying to find someone to help me. And he came in at the right time. And I'm just so blessed.
Yeah, his nutritional and health diet, supplements, knowledge of the product is just absolutely extraordinary. But then when he touches, doesn't it touch your heart big time when the guy prays for you too? That's such a precious thing.
Right, and I'm not that much of a spiritual man. I believe there's a Holy Spirit that helps and guides me. I know there's an angel on my shoulder every day to help guide me through, with the support of my wife and my family. I'm super blessed, and I'm almost like blessed to have had cancer, or else I would never have met such wonderful people. And I'm so glad I'm on this Zoom call to meet all of you, and just super excited to hear what everybody else has to say.
Okay. Well, we really appreciate you coming on. And Leanne, as the spouse, I remember getting to hear you. You were delightful at Louis' event. You were just glowing with joy. And can you share a little bit about this experience?
Yeah, I would love to. Well, hello, everybody. Thank you for having John and me on. We were so honored that we were asked to join you today. So, I love John's story. He tells it so well. But as a spouse, I think, I kind of have a different perspective, and I can maybe fill in a few gaps that maybe John, wouldn't recognize through our journey. Like John said, we've been married for 33 years. You get to know somebody pretty well after 33 years. And in the summer of 2021, I work in the school system, but in the summer of 2021, I was talking with my principal at the time, and I said, it was middle of summer. I said, something's not right with John. And I said, I'm losing him. So, and we just didn't know what was going on. Okay, I'm going to be fine now. So it was right after that we took this trip to Daytona Beach. And it was so clear to me, something is not right with my husband. We had a beautiful hotel and a balcony. We're looking at the ocean, and we're in Daytona for the 4th of July. And you know where John was? John was on the balcony, huddled in a blanket right by that, what do you call that thing?
Air conditioning.
The air conditioner that pumped out heat, on a 95-degree day, because he was so cold and chilled and fragile. And then, we would try to take a walk on the beach. And like he said, I didn't know how I was going to get him back to the hotel. I said, something is drastically wrong, with my husband. So we had been seeing an oncologist because at that point, all we knew is that John had a low white cell count.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we knew. We're monitoring a low white cell count. And I said, we need to take some more steps here. So that was when the doctor said, okay, we want you to visit Moffitt Cancer Center, which is 2 hours from us in Tampa.
Right.
Over the course of the next 6 months, John saw a hematologist, a lymphoma specialist, an ophthalmologist, a dermatologist, bone marrow biopsies, and he was, poked and prodded, and finally got that diagnosis of marginal zone lymphoma. All of his systems were crying for help. There was a complete breakdown. And all of these in his condition was showing itself in so many ways. But as John continued to feel worse, the only people feeling better, the pharmaceutical company.
Yeah.
Those are the only people that were feeling better and getting any wins out of this, because John just continued to deteriorate. And pharmaceuticals are like, yeah, go John, keep those drugs coming. So, so like he said, and he's not going to tell you, like he only made it through 7 of the 8 prescribed treatments in the spring of 2022. It was awful. It was awful. I would come home from work and my husband was curled up on the sofa under a blanket on a beautiful Florida sunny day. And I said, we're still not getting any better here. It was frightening. It was really frightening. So John likes to say that last May I went to prom. Well, okay, I went to prom as an administrator, right? I didn't go to prom, for my senior prom. But anyway, I was at prom and I come home and he's glowing. I said, what happened? And he said, I was on TikTok and he told me about everything that you've already heard, with Louis. And so, you have that kind of initial reaction, like, what do I want to believe here? And John said, no, you have to sit on this 30-minute Zoom. You have to. So of course I did.
Yep.
How can you not fall in love with this man in the span of 30 minutes? And I said, any questions I had, any fear I had was completely dispelled. And, we became believers like right at that moment. And, so since then, since May, we've just been on this journey. I am an educator, so I like to learn. I like to know the facts. I like to know and understand the products and how they can help John, help me, and help everybody else. So we've continued that. I do want to say on a personal note, I made a decision a year and a half ago to lose weight. And while I didn't lose weight with the NeoLife program, I did lose 65 pounds.
Great.
And for anybody on this Zoom call, if you've ever been a yo-yo dieter, you're my people. You are my people, because I've spent 55 years doing this, right? And every time I would lose, I would get drawn back into temptation. And then I would lose, I'm drawn back in. And but I lost 65 pounds. But what I'm so thankful for now is I don't have the fear of putting it back on. And I've kept it off now for almost a year. And I just told John this morning, we took our vacation out to Hume. We went to San Diego. We had a great trip. And that used to be where I fell off the wagon, right? When I got out of my routine. But I just told him this morning, you know what? I got on the scales. I'm right back where I was before I went on this trip.
Yeah.
That's the first time in my life I've been able to do that.
So there's another win.
I've never been able to maintain it. That's why they call it the yo-yo, right? But I'm doing shakes.
Yep.
I make a shake every morning.
Yep.
And I make a double shake and I throw all that good stuff in there. Yep. And I take it to work. And now I'm a school principal, so I'm pretty busy during the day, but boy, I can sip on that shake all day, take my Pro Vitality pack, and and I feel great. And I'm so excited that I'm healthy in my journey, to be there for John. So I'll just close with this. When we were in Hume, Louis asked me to talk about, what inspires you? What inspires you at this point to be part of the NeoLife family? Well, this guy is who inspires me. Because, while my weight loss is, I'm happy about that. He's fought the fight. He has fought the fight, and he got the great news this week that he is released from Moffitt Cancer Center for a year. And so we're so excited about that. And he wakes up so excited with a gusto for living. And so this was the other thing. These are kind of like words that came to me while I was in Hume, that were so comforting to me. I walked away from that experience saying, in the NeoLife family, we are ambassadors of hope. Yeah. We can go out confidently to talk to anybody with real stories of how we can provide hope to other people. Right. And so that's exciting to me. I've never been in a position where I could tell a story and maybe offer hope to others. So, and then the other words that came to me is while NeoLife, we are trying, you are selling product, right? But I don't
It's
feel
really-
that way about it at all. We say we're not selling, we're blessing.
Yeah,
Good
and we're
point.
sharing.
We are blessing others. And so
That's
just
true.
as Louis came across John's path, I hope that maybe today we've come across your path in a way that can be a blessing to you in the future. So thank you so much for allowing us to share a little bit about, John and Leanne Kane in Fort Myers, Florida.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. And Leanne, I wanted to ask you one thing. You said in the 30 minutes you saw Louis, all your fears were dispelled. Was that because you could, well, for one thing, you could see his tremendous command of the topic. He's just sharper than sharp, but probably kindness also, right, was touching you, I imagine?
Oh,
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
you could see his heart and his authenticity.
Yes.
That to me really
Yes.
spoke to me,
Mhm.
just so authentic and genuine. And again, not salesy or selling. In fact, I'm going to be honest, when John said, yeah, he's recommended that I take this and this and this, we didn't even know that this was a direct selling program. We
No,
just
I had no idea.
yeah, John said,
Had no
he's
idea.
told me I should take this and that. And I'm like, that's great.
Yeah, so I started in May and I didn't really start the business side until November.
Yeah.
So,
And
you
did you
know,
start on
because
about-
I really wanted to take the products just to try to start healing my body.
right,
You
right,
know, I didn't really care about the business side of it. I took it for my health,
Right.
and I didn't, I just got on the auto ship and started taking it.
And
But
did you
then
start?
it was,
Go ahead,
yeah,
Leanne.
I was gonna say, but then, once we saw such positive effects of the NeoLife products, it was like, this is a no-brainer. Why would we want everyone to feel this amazing?
Yeah.
And why would we not? Why would we keep this to ourselves instead of sharing it out with others?
Right, right. And did you start on about 15 products, John? Because you had a really serious condition.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so that 30-day detox, gosh, taking 5 or 6 garlics and zinc and the multivit, the salmon oil, extra carotenoids, just a lot of everything. And after that 30 days, he put me back down to kind of the normal everyday intake. So I take about, probably 15 or more supplements a day.
Okay,
Yep.
one last question. What would your prognosis been without NeoLife? Would it have been terminal or was it very good? Was it what 50-50?
No, I mean, so the doctor says, you have about, if you maintain what you're doing, some people can last 20 years on
Okay,
it. So I'm going for 30, 40.
yeah, and
No,
I mean,
you just didn't want to feel that you didn't want to continue
Yeah.
putting those toxins in your body and feeling like you felt,
Right.
So even if you could live for 30 years with it, it was horrible.
Yeah.
right, because
Yes.
there's no energy for one thing, and you were cold on a 95
Yeah.
degree.
Freezing.
Yeah, I don't know if that, I don't know if people have heard of Raynaud's, but that's like your fingertips and your toenails or toes and your knees and your joints turn from dramatically cold. Like, so you're so sensitive to the cold. And when I found out, I think it's really a histamine condition. So I take quercetin every day.
Okay,
And that is like a stabilizer, and that really helped block that, you go into an office, air conditioner blowing on you, boom, I get immediately cold. I freeze up, I can barely move, I can barely walk. And so that was, I know NeoLife probably doesn't have a quercetin product, but I take a brand whole, a really good source.
okay. Well, you guys, we thank you so much. I'm gonna
Yes.
replay this and take notes because we're recording, and you guys are a perfect example of 2 lives changed completely, even not just physically, but hope and joy, high
Yes.
energy. So thank
Right.
you for coming on, you guys. Thanks for sharing
Thank
your
you.
story. Thank
Oh, you're
you.
welcome, Bob. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, you guys, we're going to go now to another 2 diamond. Before we transition, I should tell you guys, you heard glowing reports from John and Leanne about Louis, and he's the one that I asking you guys to come a day early to convention so you can get about 8 hours of training from him. That's who they were talking about. And he's also running the training that I mentioned, the 4-hour training on May 20th. So you guys show up because you just heard great testimonies there. Okay, now we're going to switch to our 2 diamond that we have coming on. Daniel, can you hear me okay, Daniel? Daniel?
Yeah, I can hear you, Bob. I had to unmute myself.
Okay, good, thanks. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and introduce a very special guest. Charlotte Shelton is one of the most delightful, legendary, gracious, kind, humble, wise, successful people in NeoLife. I'll tell you that. She has an incredible story of going with the type of fatigue that she could fall asleep at a red light, okay, guys, or in a car wash because the fatigue was so strong, going from that to vibrant energy and excellent health. Now, Charlotte has a massive, massive worldwide 2 diamond team. She has many diamonds in her downline. I think maybe even up to 5 diamond. She is the co-founder with her late husband, a wonderful man, Chuck Shelton. They were co-founders and presidents of NeoLife Japan. That's a huge honor to get selected by Jerry Brasfield to go open up Japan. So you guys, we're absolutely blessed to have 2 diamond Charlotte Shelton with us. So you guys give her a huge hand and welcome. Thank you, Charlotte, for coming on. Thank you so much.
Wow. I tell you, Bob, you can see why I love Bob. I knew Grandpa Earl. He was one of my favorite people when I was introduced to, Chuck and I were introduced to NeoLife over 47 years ago. And he just meant so much to us. And it's such a blessing to have you, Bob, as my brother in the Lord and fellow compatriot in NeoLife. And I love the fact that we're all family and we love each other. And I just see all the rest of you on there that I know and love and can hardly wait to meet you, John and Leanne, in person. What a powerful story you gave. Oh my word. It's like, that makes me want to cry. It's like, if that isn't what our business is about, to change lives like that. Right, Bob?
Yes, fantastic.
Oh my, yes. And so it's been an incredible journey all these years. Like Bob said, you know, from me being young and on vitamins and minerals and protein supplements, but still falling asleep at a red light or falling asleep in the car wash. And so my husband and I were, he had bad allergies and we were just praying about God, show us. And we were really poor in our pocketbook too. And so we were just praying for God to show us what it was that we needed to be doing. And because we had dreams and goals. And as a young married couple, we knew our salaries weren't going to get us where we needed to be. And so it was God that directed us to NeoLife, just like he did you, John. We know that, don't we? We know that. And all of us probably have that story. If we think back, it's like, I can see it was the hand of God that did this. And so how grateful I am all these years later with all the journeys I've had in this business to be here today and be able to share with you. It's an honor, Bob. Thank you for asking me to do so.
Thank you, Charlotte.
Well, and so just to tell you a little bit about our journey, we were, as I said, we had a vision, what we wanted to do in life and didn't know how we were going to do that. And like Habakkuk 2:2-3 says, write the vision on the wall and make it plain. And it even says, you know, if it's wait for it, you know, it doesn't happen overnight, but wait for it. and keep working and wait for it. And so that was us. We had a vision. And so when when God directed us to NeoLife, in the first place, like you, John, I didn't want to do the business. I mean, I didn't want to. Chuck wanted to, and I said, well, I'll support you, but don't ask me. I hate sales and I'm not going to sell. Don't ask me. But you know what? NeoLife got into me and oh my goodness, it changed my life. Like you said, Leanne, why wouldn't you want to tell everybody? I want to tell everybody. So I'm not going to keep my mouth shut because I want to help people and I want to change lives. And so that's what it still means today, to reach out and change lives. And so I know conventions coming up, Impact Summit. And just like a lot of you went to the Wisdom Builder Conference, anytime you can get to, like the Zoom meeting today, and congratulations to all of you for being on the Zoom meeting today. It's just that interjection of hope, like you were saying, inspiration. And so one of the biggest things, though, that's coming up, as Bob mentioned, is that Impact Summit. So I would like to encourage all of you, even from the get-go here, to be sure that you're there with every fiber in your being. You've got to be there. And why is it so important? It's because it really is the largest thing you can do if you're building a business, to get there and see it. NeoLife became real to us. Our very first convention, it made it really, really real. And so we had to scrape together money to get there, but it was worth it. It was the investment in our business that we needed to make. Just like if you want a return on your money, you have to make an investment. You have to invest to get that return. And so with our businesses, we do have to invest, and it can be money, which it was for us. And even like when we first started, because nobody in Texas knew about NeoLife. And so we scraped together enough money to go out and have an audience with Don Pickett, and to be able to really, we knew that this was really real then. And so today, of course, we have all the things around us that let us know it really is real, even like your testimony, John. And so we invested the money, scraped together money to get to our very first convention, because we didn't have any money. And but it was an investment that's paid off dividends tremendously all these years. And you have to invest your time, you have to invest your energy. If you want to bless the people and have the ability to do so, you need to make an investment in your business, because, you know, and I love the fact that our business is, you bless others. We have to bless others and see others blessed. First them and then us, then we're rewarded. So I love that biblical principle too. And just like faith without works is dead, which is, I think, James 2:14. Sure enough, in our business, without works, you know, you can't just wish and hope and it happen. You have to make an investment, as I was saying, in your time, in your energy. And one of the ways to do that, and Bob, you mentioned the 3 and 30, you know, that's one of the things you want to do, like even to get to that SAB special meeting. Yes. And so investing, we would not let a month go by without doing 3 and 30. That was huge for us building a business, doing 3 and 30. And I'm so glad that NeoLife has gone back to focusing on that 3 and 30. I just smiled when they were talking about that, because I thought, yes, that is totally the foundation that built our business, 3 and 30. And how do you do that? Well, it's great to start with a list. That was one of the first things we did, of 100 names. And I remember categories, you know, who does this for you? Who does that for you? You know, who's your hairdresser? Who's this? Who's that? Who's that? And just giving you different categories of people that it lights, you know, turn the light on, like, oh yeah, that's somebody I could talk to. And of course, we I love Jerry Brasfield's approach of make a friend, just make a friend. When you make a friend sincerely, and then, you know, they're open to being open to you. And we always say, you know, you can't talk to someone but just a few minutes, but what with NeoLife ears, you know, they're giving you all kinds of openings. That's like, they need NeoLife, they need NeoLife. They need NeoLife here, NeoLife there. And so we just gently wait for an opportunity to be able to share that with them. But, and one of the things I always did was I kept a pad of paper by my, and a pen by my bedside, because sometimes even in the middle of the night, God may wake you up and drop a name in your head. And you can just jot it down quickly. So, and if you don't, when people come to mind, if you don't write it down, you're going to forget. But very likely it's easy to forget. Just like we write the vision, like I was saying, in Habakkuk, you write the vision on the wall. What is your vision? What is your goal? And then, of course, we go through the steps to get there, but be sure and write down the names of the people. And it could be that God has brought those people to mind to you because there's a need they have. It's just beautiful how God connects us, and he goes before us, providing a way for them as well as for you. So, and then you have to be intentional about speaking to those people. You can't just wish and hope and dream. You have to be intentional about talking to people, about building your business. I have someone from way from my past that found me on Facebook and connected with me just the other day. And then through finding out what I did, he just signed up as a promoter. He's on the 30-day or the Proven 33. He's all excited about losing weight. He's all excited about building a business. He's a retired pastor, and he's going, you know, I really need to do this to have that residual income. And today it's even greater than ever with all the inflation and all the people don't know what they're going to do. So what a beautiful way we have of building our business by blessing other people and giving them the ability to have a way to not only help people, but then even build that residual income that from our day one, our very first person we ever signed up in this business. And he was a guy that Chuck sang barbershop with. And they were going to a barbershop practice session, and Chuck shared NeoLife with him. And to this day, they still order the products. They still get a bonus. And they didn't build a huge business, but they were able to get into a home. They for the first time, and still he was a CPA, and he kept all these records. And what a blessing! And they're still in the business today, over 47 years later. So, and then, you know, keep a dream list or a vision board, or, you know, I like a book, a loose leaf notebook, and I put it in the loose leaf notebook. And it's amazing when you go back and you look, and a lot of people, it's good to look every day. But when you, or the list of your dreams and your goals, and you go back and you look at it, you go like, oh my goodness, we did that. We did that. We did that. Oh my goodness, we're there. So it's beautiful to see how blessed you are as you're blessing other people's. And writing that, having that dream, that vision tells your brain that you're going to do that. You know, your brain begins to focus on, yes, we're going to do that. One of the other things we did from the get-go, we had weekly meetings. It was huge for building our business. We didn't have a huge amount of people, but you know, people would come and they get excited. They bring their friends. They need to hear this too. And of course, we didn't have Zoom then. And I can say that's one of the best things, or the only thing I know good that came out of COVID was we all learned about Zoom and how we can connect worldwide with Zoom. So, but still, even having those local meetings, it was huge for building our business. Of Chuck would be in the bedroom reading the brochures, reading anything he could get. And I'd be just greeting the people. And then he'd come out and share about the products and the differences. And it's the NeoLife difference that makes the difference in our bodies. And certainly when we show people the difference, it's amazing. So those weekly meetings are just essential. And then, if you want to really build, it's a great way to build. I need to go take my respects. Yay for respects.
Yeah.
And then a booth, we had a booth. A booth is a great way to build your business in the sense that you stand there and people come to you. It's a great way. And I just know that God directs the paths of the people that do come. I just feel like that. And I want to be like a magnet. Lord, just send me the people I can help. Lord, send them to me. That's the way I always feel and pray for. And we did that at the Texas State Fair, which is a huge fair, for 28 years. It was it was about a month out of our life, but it was really fabulously worth it. And so build our business, people from the fair, still solid customers forever. And when we got started, of course, we had no money. And I remember even, and who Clyde Jushaw was.
Oh, yes. Yes.
President of NeoLife. He told our sponsor, who was in California, he'd come to Texas and did the booth at the state fair. And that's how God directed us to NeoLife. And when we went by that booth, we didn't want to talk to that man. We did not want to hear about those products. No, thank you. And but it was just God. And anyway, Clyde Jushaw told our sponsor one time, because at that time you had to order everything in cases and you had to send a check. They didn't have credit cards, so you had to mail a check. And of course, we had no money, so Chuck could place a big order and mail a check. And one time he told me, he said, honey, he said, if all the checks cleared that I'd written for all these products at this moment, we'd be $5,000 overdrawn. And I was like, oh, don't tell me that. I can't handle it. But we never bounced a check. But Clyde Jushaw said, I think these people have financial trouble because we ordered every single day, right? Just to keep the products coming. It took 2 weeks to get them. Oh, we're so grateful for how easy it is today. And you can buy one bottle. It's so much better. And so it was a struggle. We even had to sell antique dishes one time just to pay our taxes. But anytime we'd have any money, we would invest in our business. We would buy a camera so we could take pictures of our teams. Don't we love having on our phone now? We had to buy luggage because we were going to win a trip and we didn't have any luggage. So everything we did, we kept putting that money, anything we could, back in the business, investing. And the dividends, the residual income. And God has blessed us and you never know who you're talking to, that through that person, you may touch, and you will one day, more than likely, touch people on the other side of the world. And like Bob said, we've been so blessed. Our team's spread all over the world. And if we printed out all the pages of all, you have all those pages at the end of the month, it would be over 5,000 pages. I mean, it overwhelms me.
Wow.
It overwhelms me that it's like, God, you're amazing. We didn't do it. We didn't do it. God did it through this incredible opportunity. And so you think of all the lives around the world. It's just phenomenal. So the convention, to bring this all, land the plane, convention is the biggest key in this Impact Summit in San Antonio, is the biggest key that could help unlock whatever dreams and goals you have. And again, we're blessing people when we achieve those dreams and goals. And so, because at that convention, it becomes so real. You meet the founder. What a privilege. what an incredible man. You see how real, how kind, how genuine, how, and so from him to Kendra, the CEO, oh, unbelievable. And I know a lot of you met her. You get to, like Bob said, talk to the SAB members, and just what a privilege. They're so real, and so kind and so open. And then people like our Stephen Whitwell, oh my goodness, how dynamic. And Ashley Peebles, oh, so dynamic. And then just all the NeoLife people, all the family. You just become best friends with so many people you meet. And what a family we have here. And I love it that all the teams support one another and love one another and have fun together. It's the fun. Don't we have a lot of fun, Bob?
Yes, we do. Yes, we
You
do.
and I shut down the dance floor, I think, last time. Didn't we?
Right, yeah. And Wayne Hansen too with you.
Yes, and what? Yes, that's right.
Daniel too.
Daniel, yeah, we always have the most fun, and what excitement, inspiration, and you just, again, you see firsthand how real and how good and how genuine and how exciting it is to be a part of this great family and this great company and this great business.
Well, thank you, Charlotte. I got to tell you guys, talk about convention. My main goal, my early years in convention, as our team grew a little bit, I had a few more people with me, fortunately, but my goal was get a kiss on my cheek from Charlotte. So if that happened the first day, then I said, well, I can go home now. But convention, Chuck and Charlotte have inspired just thousands of people. You guys can see how much fun she is, how gracious and humble. But Charlotte, I was just so amazed at you guys, because you told me that when you guys were first married, lots of debt and living on credit card and bills. And it's hard to conceive of going from that to complete financial freedom and a beautiful property, large property in the country. But you told me when we were visiting that it has to be incremental, that as we get to this level, we can believe a little bit more because we got a little bit higher, and then we get the next step, and then we can believe a little bit more. Because when you first started, I don't know if you could have believed for the beautiful country property. I mean, that was your goal though, wasn't it? To get out of the town, out of the city.
Yes.
But it takes a lot of growth to get to where we eventually want to be. And so as you grew and grew, then you could believe for bigger things. Is that pretty much correct?
That's exactly right. Yes, we had a dream of getting out of the city, but had no idea how it was going to happen or where we were going to be. But it was the journey, actually the NeoLife journey, that led us to have the ability to, and God directing the path all along. But I know it was through NeoLife that led us to be able to get that ranch. And then after we got the ranch, then we had goals to, put in a lake and put in other facilities, which we were able to do because of the business. And we were just slowly growing and setting goals and then we were using the ranch for retreats and get-togethers for NeoLife. And so, but it is an incremental goal all the way through. Like I said, we first bought a camera, and then we bought luggage, and then we bought, just various things. And then my husband was going to go to Bible school. We were able to do that. Our business was going great, and we were able to pick up and move. And it was through that journey that eventually led us through the ranch. So it's these incremental goals. You're right, Bob.
Okay, thank you. And weren't Hydeens in your team?
Yes, the Hydeens.
Were they up in Minnesota or something like that?
Yes, they were in Minnesota. And so we went to and did this Minnesota State Fair and met the Hydeens. We'd been in the business a year, and we ended up going up to Minnesota, and they became directors out of that meeting or that fair, as well as a lot of other people. We just had somebody yesterday that ordered 3,600 PV product that came from that fair.
Are you kidding? How long ago was that fair, Charlotte? How long ago was that? Was that 30 or 40 years?
46 years ago.
And someone from that fair yesterday ordered 3,600?
Yes, 3,600 PV. Yes.
Oh my
I
goodness.
know. It's like, wow.
Wow.
So it's amazing this, of course, just all the people over the years and how, once they learn the differences and experience the differences and usually if they do that, they're going to stay on the product. I mean, it's like, I never want to be without the product. And so that's what keeps that firm foundation in the business, right? The products, that difference in the products.
Right. And when you follow up from fair leads, two questions here. One is, it's really important to do that quickly, I believe, but would you typically go to their house so you're in person face to face when you do the follow-up from all those leads from a Texas State Fair or a Minnesota Fair? Would you go to their house or they would come to you so you're face to face in person?
You know what, if at all possible, like we drove over to see the Hydings to their little town. Oh, I'm so sorry. To their little town. And met with them and face to face, like you said, they can sense, like you guys, John and Leanne were saying, the sincerity, and you know what I mean. You get a feeling for someone, and we knew they were sincere and honest, and they just had so many questions. They were Shaklee people, and. Yes, and when they walked by the booth, they saw something about natural and they thought, they can't say that. Nobody can say that but Shaklee. And of course, what a difference when they learned the difference. But if at all possible to meet with the people face to face, and of course, that's another great thing about Zoom. Now, if they're far away, we can meet with them on Zoom face to face. That's a good thing. And so yes, follow up is the key. We always had a lead slip, what we called a lead slip, and I can certainly get you a copy of that lead slip, Bob.
That would be great. I would love it.
Right, because if people fill out, things that they might be, tick boxes that they're interested in, like I'd learned and like to know more about weight loss or about, feminine health or masculine health or more energy or, all of these different categories. And then we would have a subtle little box at the, I'd like to learn more about earning part-time money. I'd like to know more about learning full-time income. So, we didn't say, we would just say here while we were writing up what they were interested, what they were purchasing or doing. Of course, we didn't have computers and all that in those days. We'd say, here, fill out this.
We lost your sound, Charlotte. We lost your sound. Maybe the mic got turned.
Okay. Yeah, I think I pressed on a paper that hit the off button. I don't know what you heard last.
Well, you were talking about follow-up.
Yes, follow-up is huge. Follow-up is huge because, it's like those little lead slips are like gold, and to follow up. And we must have missed one time. I don't know what, or maybe we called and we missed him and didn't keep following up. See that persistence in following up. And so we had this guy walk by one day, or the booth one year, and he said, tell me about what you have. And Chuck told him, and so he said, well, now let me tell you something. And we thought, oh dear, oh my, okay. And he said, I came by this booth last year. He said, I'm a UPS driver. I work really hard. You know how they run and lift all these heavy packages. He said, he bought the sport program the year before. He said, I've never felt so good in my whole life. He said, I've been so mad all year long because I didn't know how to get more. Wow. And there's still customers today. They'll call and order $1,000 worth. And yeah. And all of his coworkers, of course, he was not even married then, and he married this girl that she was like a juvenile diabetic, and they said, don't even ever have a baby. And her health was so bad. And it's a miracle what all NeoLife did for her. And they have a beautiful daughter, and she's married now. And, you know, all these years later, and he still outworks all of his young cohorts.
Well, Charlotte, we're gonna wrap this up with a crazy question. Do you really believe in this product, Charlotte?
Well, just a little bit. And, you know, and here I am, all these years later, been on the product. It started over when I was 29, and here I've been almost 30. And here I've been on it now over 47 years. And I know when I call people and they have to ask my age or something, they go like, well, you sure don't sound that old. And I go like, oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
People are marvel at my energy. They just marvel at it. And if I didn't have any energy at 29, where would I have been without NeoLife, right?
I imagine that at 29, already pretty much exhausted, because you told us you could fall asleep at a red light.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Yeah.
I did that.
Now you have high energy, correct? It seems
Oh,
like.
all the time. I go all the time and just never stop. And I'm so thankful to feel good, you know, and I used to even, because, you know, you want to help people so badly. When I would read a book and somebody was hurting, or see somebody in a movie and they were hurting, I'd lean over to Chuck and say, oh, we could help them so much. Because you just want to help people. And so I'm so thankful for NeoLife. I would not be where I am today, physically, financially. You know, we were able to buy even like a vacation home in Colorado that we enjoyed for over 25 years. And you know, the investment we made in the business, you know, that in the properties, you know, bought the ranch and bought our office we work out of, because we lived in the country, and all of those assets keep increasing in value too. So it's not only the residual income, but then, you know, your ability to make other investments that pay off in the long run. And so I'm in a new home now. God has closed a chapter of my life with the ranch. And I'm in a new home now with a new chapter in my life, but just so thankful to God for what he's done. And I wouldn't be without NeoLife one day.
Okay. Charlotte, thank you so much for you kindly, generously giving us your time, your experience, your amazing, remarkable graciousness. Thank you so much, Charlotte. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I was honored to be on the call with all of you today. I can hardly wait to hug your necks at convention. I want to see every one of you there.
Okay, thank you so much, Charlotte. We all want to get your hug from Charlotte, you guys. Okay, thank you so much, Charlotte. Two Diamond, wonderful woman. Thank you so much. Okay, you guys, we're going to switch now to one of the best directors in our team. Jamie and Carol Wilson were number 5 in our team for directors this month. And Jamie has won many gold and silver medals. He's got gobs of them at his house. He's received $400 in free product many times with the 3 for Free program. He has a lot of executive managers. He's really good.
There you go.
Okay. He's really good at getting people to convention and getting people to weekend functions. He and his wife have qualified for and attended leadership school at Brassfield Estates. He's one of the very best leaders in our team, really. I don't know if he has to attribute that to his business coach and mentor, Carol Wilson, but he is a very wonderful people person, has a great product testimony. He's a wonderful leader. And so you guys, please welcome rock solid number 5 this month in our team for directors, Emerald Director, Mr. Jamie Wilson.
Well, Bob, you know, you just made it so easy for me today by having me follow up behind Charlotte. I just want to thank you for that. Charlotte, I see you're still on the call. You're amazing. You are so inspiring. And, you know, I wish I'd come across NeoLife many years ago. And I'm so thankful that you did, and so thankful for the amazing impact that you've had on the whole planet, you know, let alone inspiring us here this morning. So thank you so much. As far as I'm concerned, I'm a very young 70, and I'm so grateful for the company. In my opinion, this is the best company on the planet, and for a lot of reasons. But I mean, we got the most amazing products. A company that's been in business for 65 years now, and the leadership of this company, the integrity behind it, the amazing opportunity and compensation in this company. It's just an amazing find in today's world, and actually at any time in today's world. This planet always has lots of issues, lots of problems, and we're at a point in our time in America where just seems like the devil's been working overtime to make us sick and weak and depressed and have all kinds of problems. You can't go out and get good food. It isn't there. And so we have this amazing opportunity, but also an amazing obligation to pass along this word. I really like what you said earlier, Leanne, and I've heard many times where people said, I'll never do the business. Don't even think about asking me to do the business. I like Bob, one of the ladies that was early in the company that wrote right on her application form, I will not sell NeoLife, and ended up being one of the top producers in the company for decades. Because when you see what it does in our own bodies, how can we not pass that along to other people? It's something that we just have to do. The products, you were talking earlier about what it's done for in my life. Well, I first saw it with Carol, my wife. My lovely wife was having heart problems, and we'd done everything that the AMA had said to do for a full year, and she was only getting worse month by month. Her third time in the hospital, she had to spend the night in the ICU. We got her home from the hospital, and that morning the doctor had said to me, Jamie, I'll tell you what, I think if we just electrocute parts of her heart and kill those parts, that maybe she'll have a better time. And I was a chaplain in the hospital. I'd done it for 20 years. I've seen what doctors do to patients sometimes. And I looked at him, I said, Doc, you're not doing that to my wife. It is not going to happen. So when I got her home, I said, honey, you met that lady that sells the nutrition products? Call her up, buy anything she wants to sell you, and maybe that'll help, because this doctor's not doing a thing for you. And that was John and Debbie. And so thankful, because in just 6 months, Carol was off all her heart medications. Her heart's only gotten better and stronger over the last 4 years. And as soon as I saw what it did for Carol, I said, honey, sign me up. I want to get some of that. No, I didn't. I did. I see Carol was saying, you need to come talk to Debbie. I'm going, oh, no, honey, you know, I can't, because I had had an awful experience where I blew up a kidney with a large kidney stone. It clogged off the port, and the kidney just swelled up and popped like a balloon as I was driving down the highway. And I knew what the problem was. I knew it had just happened to me. And I knew I was supposed to go to the doctor, go to the hospital. But instead, I pulled off to the side of the road and I said, Lord, you know, I don't have the money for this thing, and you know, I don't have the insurance anymore. And Lord, I really don't want to give the hospital my property. So Lord, I'm just going to keep going. And so long as you don't let it hurt too bad, I'm just going to trust you to bring me healing in the future. And I did. But the thing was, for 12 years, that's rotten old kidney was infected. It hurt all the time. And I was just getting weaker and weaker and weaker. Well, when Carol finally, after about 4 months, got me to go to a NeoLife meeting, I heard things I'd never heard before about nutrition, and it kind of made sense. And they had this one amazing product called carotenoids that would took 2.5 pounds of non-GMO fruits and vegetables to make one capsule. And I don't like vegetables much. And so I told my wife, I said, Carol, I'll try that one. And my idea of trying it was 1 or 2 capsules per week. And I was really sick, and I could tell it wasn't hurting me, but I really couldn't tell it was helping me either. And Carol kept trying to get me to take more. And so for 3 months, I kept saying, no, honey, that's all I can do. And finally she got really mad. She said, go see Debbie again. And being an obedient husband, I did, and heard John and Debbie and Bob was there that time. And I can remember Bob telling me, Jamie, if you'll take this and this and this and this and this, I think it's really going to help you. And I knew my kidney hurt every day. I always knew where my kidney was day and night. And I thought, if I take that and that, that, I will be in the hospital for sure. But then I thought, that's okay. Because then I can say, I'm so sorry it didn't work for me. I'm so glad it works for you. Now leave me alone. And I had no idea it was multi-level, but I went ahead and put in a big order and everything that Bob said. And when I got home that day, John called to say, Jamie, I don't know if you know about this, but for $75, you can start your own business with this thing, and you'll actually get a check, and it's kind of a wash with what you bought. And we already had one other friend that came that same day and ordered some things. And so I said a little prayer and said, oh, okay, we'll do it. And to my amazement, the check came just about the same time all our products did. And it was for $20. And Carol and I danced around the living room. Oh, we're in the money. This is great. And just had fun with it. Never did I expect to see the change in my own body that NeoLife made. I started taking it faithfully, and within 2 weeks, instead of being in the hospital, my energy level came way up, and I was doing things I had not been able to do for years with ease. And the more I was on it, the more change it made, until about 5 or 6 weeks into it, I could tell my kidney was getting better, much better. I still knew where it was, but it didn't have that sharp pain that it had. It was healing. I could tell it was healing. And then people kept coming to me and saying, Jamie, you look like you're feeling better. And I was saying, yeah, I do feel better. And they'd say, well, how come? Like, well, I started taking some vitamins. Really? What kind? I couldn't even tell them the name. And then they said, well, where do we go to get it? I went, oh, let's call Debbie. And my first check was 20, second check was for 190, third check was for over 800. And I said, honey, I think they might have made a mistake. But it's just been an amazing journey for us. And I'm so glad that Carol ran into Debbie at a health fair, and that it all got started from there. And the going to events, I started to mention earlier just how important events are. I was part of a company many years ago that was a network marketing company, and I really liked their product. It was financial products, and I really liked how they worked, everything about it. And I started to make a little money with it. I got invited to go to a convention. Well, I thought, well, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And so I booked a hotel for 3 nights, an expensive hotel, and paid for the convention fee. And I went, and it started on Friday. By Friday night, I left the hotel, went home, and said, I cannot be part of this company because the leadership, everything was about money. And I'm just not there. And so when I got into NeoLife, and Bob kept saying, oh, you got to go to convention. And I was like, oh, it was like dragging a mule. I didn't want to go to the convention. I didn't want to hear what it was going to be like because I already knew in my mind what I thought it was going to be. And if I saw what I saw with the other company, I would just not be able to do it. But I liked what the products did for me. I liked what they were doing for my friends and family. And I didn't want to hear something that was going to be a negative. But when I actually went to the first convention, it was in Palm Springs, it was so wonderful. The integrity of the leaders, the science, it was, I saw lots of videos before I went, but it was way better than the videos because people were coming up to me and saying, we're so glad you're here. And actually caring and interested in who I was and wanting to hear some of my stories and being willing to answer my questions. I was shocked. I was amazed. And Carol didn't go with me that year, but I said, honey, we're going together next year. We're going. And we drove all the way to Nashville. We had a great time. And that's when they introduced Upbeat. I don't know what they're going to introduce this year at the Impact Summit, but I'm going to be there and I'm going to get the first one. So do yourself a favor. If you want to see yourself growing in this business and having a story like Charlotte, go to the conventions, go to the events, be active in this company, and it will reward you in more ways than you can imagine. So Bob, thank you for letting me share this morning.
Thank you for sharing, Jamie. Your story is just phenomenal. You know what, if you could share just one more thing. I mean, your health benefits are tremendous. The business growth. Now, your third month was a check for about 800 or something, did you say?
Yes. Yes. And then one of the things that amazed me about that was after I got that check, of course, you're paid month by month what you do the month before. And we were so busy at the hospital that I was no longer able to work at all for the NeoLife. If I spent even an hour talking to someone, I would have been amazed. But my next check was for 800 also. And we stayed really busy with the hospital. I couldn't do anything the month after that either. And that next check was for over 800 again.
Even though you weren't spending time?
Yeah, even though I wasn't spending hardly any time at all.
Amazing.
Oh yeah, I was amazed. So I remember telling Carol, look at that. This is the third month and I haven't hardly done anything. I have a week off coming up. I'm going to work on NeoLife some more. And the check went up. Who would have guessed? And you know, we're just so blessed to be a part of a company that actually, I think they overpay us. I've heard Louis say that, and by the amount of hours that I put in, I have to agree, I am overpaid. But I'm so thankful that the deal.
Worth every penny of it,
James. Thank you, John.
Yeah, John and Deb and I were so grateful to have you and Carol in the team. I mean, you're a phenomenal, extraordinary leader and motivator. And you guys, for Jamie to hit that 800 on the third month, just to underline, that doesn't just happen by accident. It's because he sowed a lot of seeds and did work. And the same with Charlotte. You guys remember Charlotte said you have to be intentional, you know. And so her and Chuck, they worked the state fair for 28 years, and they even went to state fairs in other states, you know, and traveled a long ways. but look at the massive business and the financial freedom and lifestyle, can live in the country, a vacation home, going to that from debt and bills. But they were intentional. So we all have dreams, but in order to make them a reality, got to be intentional. Charlotte said we got to write the vision. That's out of Habakkuk, a book in the Old Testament. Write the vision. She told me earlier this week, it is important, the vision boards, pictures, because she said we have to visualize it actually happening, or it's hard for us to get in gear and grasp that we could actually achieve that big goal. How could we do it? It's overwhelming. But she said the vision boards are valuable. So we can see with our eyes, okay, this is what I want. And then make the list of names. She mentioned that, because you can't have a business without a list of names. It's essential equipment, basically. And then we got to start doing fairs, vendor booths. John and Debbie are good at vendor booths. They do that frequently. They got their best person from a booth. I got two of my top people, both world team, from a booth, from a presentation, group presentation. So we got to go to work and do our presentations and share the massive blessing we have. We heard that from the first couple. What a blessing. Their lives completely changed. Charlotte's life completely changed. Jamie's life completely changed, because now he has energy. The kidney pain is gone. He can do things with his shoulder. Oh, man. So what I'm going to do now, Jamie, thank you again for sharing. You're so refreshing and good to hear. And the Grants Pass people, I must tell you, are some of my favorite people to travel with. Jamie and his team, and I got to travel many times with John down to California, Fresno, even as far as Fort Myers, Florida, which, John, that's where that first couple is from. They're from Fort Myers, where we got to go for our world team thing. So the Grants Pass people, they're fun to travel with, and we're looking forward to having Kat at convention with us. And then Rob, you can get a special price to come to convention because you're a new promoter. So you can get the lowest price for registration. I encourage you to do that soon. Convention is so much fun. So, okay, thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Charlotte, for sharing. And John and Leanne are gone, but you guys heard some phenomenal stories today. And I see Leslie on here. Leslie has a very nice team, and she and her husband, Wayne, who's with the Lord now, but they would go to convention, I think just in 46 years, I doubt if they missed more than one or two. And they have a very nice team. So what we're going to do now, we're going to do some recognition and gratitude. We're a little over time, so I have a nice list here of people who have senior managers, executive managers, directors, and world team, but I'm not going to read them all, because if they're not on the call, it'll just save us a little time. So of our senior managers, I see Teresa Hansen's on here. She has over 1,000, so give her a hand, over 1,000. And then Mary Lou Stevenson is on the call. She's from Texas, 1,053. 1,053. Joyce Fisher, 1,084. And we have Nancy Reese on the call. Nancy is one of the most gifted recruiters. She connects really well with people, and she's courageous. And Nancy has 1,104 PV. And then we have Rick and Barbara Bird, 1,156 PV points. And then we have Brent and Ramona Chichester from up in Canada, a delightful couple, 1,371. Then we have Kevin and Janet Cornelius on the call, 1,843 points. Then we have senior managers on this call. We have Jolene Cox, 2003. Very grateful for Jolene and Dan. They'll be at convention with some good friends. Then we have going to directors, Mark Ritchie in Iowa, 4,016 points. Gina Ellis in Wisconsin, 4,577 points. She's a mother of, I can't remember if it's 8 or 9. But look at that, 45, almost 4,600 points. That's super helpful income for a large family, super helpful. Just side income, not full-time job, but able to bring in 1,000 or more, just residual income. Marilee Blomberg, 5,000. Victor Pearson, 5,000. In number 6, John Chambers, Debbie Muzak, 5,012. And John and Debbie will read their name again later with the World Team, Elite World Team Sapphires. In number 5, Jamie and Carol Wilson, 5,350, right there in that room there. Thank you so much, Jamie and Carol. Then Leslie Hansen, 7,317 here in Eugene. She was number 4 for our directors. And number 3, Barbara Chichester, who's in the Caribbean as we speak right now with her sister Patty. Barbara is number 3 of our directors with 8,466 points. And then we have in number 2, Mr. Daniel Hansen, 10,317 points. Daniel has a magnificent business. Then in number 1 for personal volume, Stephanie Beckett with 12,533 points. And you guys, Steffi tells people openly she got over MS with our product. I know her well enough, she'll say it's by God's mercy, and she'll give God the honor and credit. But he used NeoLife apparently because she has only a little bit of residual loss of sight. She told me that's common in MS people in one of her eyes, but she's high energy. She's on no medication. She can function like crazy. And she credits NeoLife protein is the biggest contributor, she said, with MS. And she does 10,000 to 20,000 a month. She's a 71-year-old grandma of 8, and she does it strictly part-time. She brings in multiple thousands of dollars every month, just part-time. Like I'll tell you how part-time is crazy, an hour or 2 a week, making multiple thousands of dollars every month because of all the seeds she's planted over the years, just like Charlotte did. Presentation. Well, that adds up. And you guys, when we can get several thousand for just a part-time gig, like an hour or 2 a week, that's incredible. I won't tell you how many thousands. You might not want me to do that, but it's a great business. Okay, so now we have 4 elite World Team Sapphire directors to mention. In number 4, John Chambers, Debbie Muzak, 10,362 points. And John and Debbie, with that, they get a $600 just car allowance, not even counting the check, just the car allowance. And they're great people, some of my favorites. Mr. Constitution there on the couch, and a brilliant guy, a scholar in many ways. Okay, and number 3, Elite World Team Sapphire Director Leslie Hansen, 22,211 points. That's very nice. And number 2, Victor Pearson, 25,999 points. And then in number 1, my sister, she has her dad's business because this can be passed from one generation to the next. Marilee Blomberg's points last month, 53,210. Okay. So there's people on this call that do very, very well. So you guys, if we're not where we want to be, which I'm certainly not where I would like to be, any of you that are not where you want to be, just keep on these meetings, go to convention, go to weekend functions like Jamie was just talking about. Go for your 3 and 30 so that at convention you can go to the SAB symposium. And if you need help getting your 3 and 30, talk to your sponsor or to me. We'll help you achieve that so you can attend that meeting. Okay, you guys, at 11, we're going to have more top-notch nutrition training. That Zoom, if you didn't catch it before, 963-644-1807, and the password's ATP. So that'll start in just about 16 minutes. And thanks for joining us and for all you do. And thanks to our speakers today, too. You guys have a wonderful day, and thanks for coming on. Nice to see you, Kat.
Thank you, Bob.
Yeah,
Thank you, Bob.
Blessings, everybody.
Charlotte.
Thank you. See you all.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you,
Appreciate
thank
being here. Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Charlotte.
Have a good day, everyone.
Mitch, what team are you in? Mitch, what team are you in?
That's Daniel who's doing, what, 12,000 was he doing? 10,000 or something, just himself?
Yeah.
He's in.
And that's just $600 per month.
Oh, yeah, he has it.
How long have you been doing it? I know. Yeah.
And Jamie,
I
don't know.
Well, his mom,